This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Oh, Grant, how you doing today?
Doing great.
Are you?
Doing good.
You made it. Finals are halfway over.
I still have all of my finals to do.
Oh, you have... Really?
Yeah, I still have all of my finals to do. Well,
Wow.
I kind of did one, but it wasn't during finals
How
week.
do you kind of do a final? Did
Well,
you just
okay,
do
I
half of
did
it
a
and just walk out? Like,
Yes.
I'm done!
I did a final last week, technically not during finals week.
Oh.
Then I have one today.
Aren't you special?
The big memorizing one that I have to do.
Big memorizing one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Theology.
Theology, yes. That is a perk of going to a Lutheran college, isn't it, Grant?
Oh, yeah, it's
So much theology to study.
So many Bible verses.
So many good times. So many good times. Well, Grant, I am very excited that you are here. We have a big show today. Zach Poppenfuss will be here to chat a little bit about Deflategate.
You screwed up, by the way.
It won't go away. I didn't screw up because you never did it. You should just know what day it is,
You're supposed
Grant.
to cue me.
Grant, what day is it?
Hump day!
There you go. Come on. By this point, I figured you just know, like, oh, Grant, how you doing today? Oh, I'm great. Hump day. Something like that. Do you want me to restart the show just so you can have your properly time? I'm not going to restart it.
Restart the show.
I'm not going to restart it. I've already got the red light to start talking. I'm not going to restart it. I'm sorry. I love you, but not that much. But Grant, the people that do love us, though, can find us on social media, correct? And where can they find us?
They can find us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show. They can also go over to Twitter and look us up at BG Sports Show. You can send us an email at gmail.com by sending it to bgsportshow@gmail.com or Instagramming us by using the hashtag the Bax Grant Sports Show.
Yes, indeed. And remember, you can watch us on theCube, thecube.com. You can also listen to us live, 9 a.m. Central, on Spreaker.com, and you can also listen to us from 12 to 3 Eastern on SportsRadioAmerica.com. Tune in, Live 365, and you can listen to us on demand anytime you want on iHeartRadio and iTunes.com. So much excitement, so much fury, and I am going to jump right into it, Grant, because I have had it literally up to here with ESPN.
Okay.
Up to here, Grant.
Why is that, Baxter?
There is, not only is there, wall-to-wall Deflategate on every single show, on every single network, on every single everything, but the new ESPN fantasy experts, I put that in air quotes as loosely as I possibly can, have come out with their new top 300 players to watch and potential 300 players to... that you should look at drafting, and they ranked all of the players, the quarterbacks, wide receivers, the kickers. Now, the kickers aren't on here because no one likes the kickers. That's not my real rant. No. The new number one, you had an issue on Monday. We had Caramel, whatever that who he was.
He was the Caramel Caribou.
Yeah, the Caramel Caribou that he was, whatever his name was. He had Le'Veon Bell as his number one, and you were a little enraged by that. Well, it's my turn to be mad, Grant, because
I agree with you.
The new number one, according to ESPN.com, is Eddie Lacy, which is totally garbage.
And this is coming from two Packers fans.
Yes, and this is unbiased. Anybody that's listening that's a Packer fan, you're probably like, wait, what? Why are they mad? You know why I'm mad, Grant?
Why are you
Because
mad?
you can't have the best running back on the most pass-happy offensive team in the NFL.
Exactly.
Last I checked, Eddie Lacy's quarterback is not Jay Cutler. It's Aaron Rodgers. Let me review, Grant. I have notes. Eddie Lacy. First of all, let's talk about the positives for Eddie Lacy. 2013 Rookie of the Year. Big year for him. Great production from him. 1,178 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, average 4.1 yards a carry. He did have 3 fumbles, though. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. 2014, production goes down. He was battling injuries all season. 1,139 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. He did average 4.6 yards a carry, though, so his production in that regards went up. Only had 1 fumble. Not too bad, you'd look at those numbers.
About the same.
Yeah, you'd look at those numbers and say, okay, well, that's not too terrible. Aaron Rodgers, though. Let me take a look at Aaron Rodgers. In 2014, he had 4,381 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He also was the 2014 MVP, and last I checked, he was the 2014 highest scorer in fantasy football.
Right. And that's why I'm like, why are all these running backs on this list, it's the 6 highest players are all running backs.
Yes.
And I'm like, when we were looking at the all-time scoring list, I thought the first top couple of picks was quarterbacks. And
they were. The top 5 were.
Yeah, the top 5 were quarterbacks. So I'm not really understanding first, the first thing I'm not understanding is why it's all running backs. My second question is why running backs like you have Arian Foster on here.
Arian Foster hasn't been relevant for the last 3 seasons.
Yes, but also you can put him on there because the Texans don't have that much of a passing game. That's kind of what I'm getting
So
at.
hypothetically, he will get the ball a lot more. But then looking down the line, though, I mean, look at some of these other names. I know you have somebody else, but I'm going to talk about number 8, C.J. Anderson. He had an okay conclusion to the season last year in Denver, but that's because Monty Ball was struggling with injuries. Monty Ball will be a second-year running back this coming year, who was lights out in college for Wisconsin. He had a great beginning part of his career, and now he's got a huge opportunity to take the starting job away from C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson had a good second half of the season, but because there was nobody else capable of running the ball. So you don't really know how good of a player he actually is.
Right.
But, I mean, looking at some of the other names, you had a few others you had picked out as well.
Well, to that, I'm questioning why they're not a little higher, and especially why they aren't higher than Eddie Lacy. And I'm just kind of looking at it from the aspect of they're good running backs, and their passing game isn't as good, so they're probably going to get the ball more. One could argue Adrian Peterson, but
Teddy Bridgewater's really had a turnaround.
Yeah,
though.
Teddy Bridgewater has stepped up for Minnesota, and Adrian Peterson did miss pretty much the entire season, so we don't know how he's going to play. But then you could argue the season he came off of an ACL surgery the season before.
Yes.
He came out and had an absolute lights-out season, one of the best seasons a running back has ever put together.
If you can get reconstructive surgery on a major body part like that and come back and nearly break the all-time single-season rushing record, I feel like that was a pretty good recovery and good turnaround.
Yeah. Another question mark for me was Marshawn Lynch, and we know that Marshawn Lynch beast mode. He's one of the best running backs in the league, and looking at the Seattle Seahawks, yes, they're a solid team, but the defense pretty much wins them most of their games. And for the offense, yes, they have a decent passing game, but they don't have the best receivers. And Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, he's not the best quarterback.
No, he certainly isn't.
He doesn't have the best arm on him. And so Marshawn Lynch, he's one of their go-to guys on offense, and he is one of the best running backs in the league. So,
well, think about it from this aspect, too. Now that you've got a guy named Jimmy Graham, the most explosive, quote-unquote, tight end in the NFL right now, think about the production level for Marshawn Lynch. Yes, I understand you're going to still want to give him the ball, but now that you've got...
apparently not on the 1-yard line.
Well, no. That's you obviously throw the ball. Is that too soon?
Nah.
No? It's been long enough.
It's been long enough, and enough people have griped about it.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, though, in that regards, I feel like Jimmy Graham is going to be targeted a whole lot more and take away more of those touches that Marshawn Lynch traditionally would have gotten had Graham not been on the team.
True. And then I have one more that I wanted to point out that I think is a big deal.
Yes.
Matt Forte, he's at number 9, and as Packer fans, we know that Matt Forte, he's not a bad running back.
He's not. He is 30 this year, though.
That is true, but he doesn't make big splashes in the league, and he does stay... He's not always healthy, but he stays relatively healthy for being a 30-year-old running back. That's pretty good. And he's playing for the Bears. I mean, they have Jay Cutler, and we know how well that goes. And he thinks the wide receivers are the defenders of the other team, and you've all heard that kind of stuff. But, I mean...
I love a good Jay Cutler joke.
Oh, you found some good ones in the past.
There's some real good ones.
There's some great ones. But yeah, you have Jay Cutler on your team, and the passing game isn't as strong with him there. And I mean, yeah, he could heat up because he's actually not a bad quarterback. He's won into the playoffs a couple times.
Yes.
But Matt Forte, he's going to be a big offensive drive to that team because, like I said, he's not a bad running back.
And I feel like Matt Forte is one of those running backs that will never fully get his due because he does play in the NFC North. Aside from Adrian Peterson, nobody else in the NFC North running back-wise ever has really gotten a lot of publicity. Yes, I know Forte has been consistent, and we totally get that because we are NFC North fans. But at the same time, Eddie Lacy, traditionally, aside from this one list, doesn't get a lot of press in terms of
Rookie of the Year award.
Yes, but even that people were still kind of a little like meh about. They're like, oh, okay, he won the Rookie of the Year award, but at the same time, his rookie class wasn't very big at the same time, not like this last year's. But looking like at the top, maybe 10 scores in fantasy football last year, Aaron Rodgers was the first one with 342 total points. The first non-quarterback that comes in on the list is DeMarco Murray, and he had 282 points. And we know how good of a season DeMarco Murray had last year.
Right.
But even then, like...
And now he's number 10 on the list right now.
Yes, going into this season, but at the same time, when you have multiple running backs like Philly does right now,
Zoom right now,
it's very difficult to get a full grasp on just how good anybody that's a running back, or even Sam Bradford for that matter, how good is the Eagles going to be?
Yeah, and you don't know, kind of switching over to that, you kind of don't know who they're going to set up where. That are they going to have a certain back for a certain down, like is one guy going to be a specific third down back, or are you just going to switch them during drives, because they are all decent running backs.
Yeah.
So if you just like have one single starter and just have the rest ride the pine, I mean, you're wasting good talent.
Not going to happen.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Chip Kelly runs that offense and how he's going to handle the running backs to give them a decent amount of touches.
Yes, and I think with Philly, they're going to need to fully get a better idea. Especially, I think preseason will be huge. I think you'll see each running back get extended carries during preseason. I think Tim Tebow will get a lot of playing time during preseason. Sam Bradford, I'm sure, will get a lot of playing time during preseason.
Probably not, because then he'll snap his ACL.
Well, he'll probably snap his ACL walking out for the national anthem. But even still, like it's bound to happen. So
the third-round draft pick. Or the third overall draft pick for the Jaguars. I'm forgetting his name
Dante
right now.
Flowers.
Yeah,
First day of rookie minicamp, tears his ACL, done for the year.
season.
Thankfully, the Jaguars were still nice enough and did sign him to a contract shortly after.
Oh, really?
So he will be on the team for a while because they do really like him. It's just that's
got to be
what happens.
Like, I feel so bad because it's the Jaguars, and I mean, it's not like they're a huge, powerful organization that's going to make a Super Bowl
calling
run.
the next guy. Let's go. Like,
yeah,
no.
I feel so bad for them.
They're probably like scrambling now. Be like,
why?
Yeah, why?
Out of all the things, why?
Yes, exactly. They're going to start grabbing guys off the streets, putting them in walkers, be like, you're fine, Dante. My leg is in a full brace. No, you're fine. Get out there. You'll probably be more productive than, the Detroit Lions defensive line will be this year after losing Sue and Fairley. But that's a whole nother topic. Anyway.
Shots fired.
Woo! But looking through, we did talk briefly about Monday about Antonio Brown from the Pittsburgh Steelers being a wide receiver that will cause a lot of issues. You look through this, even top 20, there's not a whole lot of wide receivers scattered throughout here. You got Demaryius Thomas, Rob Gronkowski, the tight end, the first player to come in the tight end position at number 13. Still before a quarterback, Grant. Now, if you're going to tell me that Rob Gronkowski is going to have a better production year fantasy-wise than Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Peyton Manning, I might have to slap you.
Right, because that's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
But then you have Jordy Nelson at number 16, and then I might be a little biased here, but we can transition this possibly into the next segment. But let's see who it was. The NFL came out with the top 5 receiving core, and the Green Bay Packers were number 1.
They were.
And then you look over at I know this is ESPN, so it's different, but you look over there, and Jordy Nelson's the number 5 wide receiver. And that might be because he has Randall Cobb pairing up with him, and that might take some of the time, but, I mean, he's the number 5th wide receiver to show up on the list, so it was a little shocking to see him that low. But, yeah, transferring over, the top 5 wide receiver core are the Green Bay Packers, number 1, Denver Broncos, number 2, Indianapolis Colts at number 3, Detroit Lions at number 4, and the New York Giants at number 5, according to NFL.com.
According to NFL.com, which I find slightly interesting, just because I'm curious to know just how good the Giants will be this year. That's the first point I want to talk about, Grant, before we look at the rest of the list. You look at a team that was void of Victor Cruz last season after he went down with an injury. Now he comes back. You've got Odell Beckham Jr. coming back, the Rookie of the Year. People are very excited to see what exactly he's capable of doing. However, we both were talking about this before the show, that we think Odell Beckham Jr. is overhyped because of that one amazing catch they had. I'm not trying to take away from the catch. It was a physics-defying catch.
And I think that the Dallas Cowboy fans are sick and tired of seeing the replays, too.
I would be, too, in all honesty. Like, how many times did us Packer fans have to watch the same NFC Championship throw that,
as a Target employee, I can say over hundreds of times.
Tremont Williams, or whoever it was on the coverage was like,
Williams.
I'll let Curse catch it. Okay. Like, how many times do we have to see that play? Or how many times do we have to see the frickin' fake field goal? Like, okay. I'm just saying, I have had it. I have absolutely had it. Anyway,
you need a hug?
I'm fine, Grant. Don't touch me. I'm fine. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, So I'm curious to know how good the Giants are this year, in all honesty. I mean, they do have Eli Manning as their quarterback, but at the same time, we know Eli Manning was in that same he's in that same class as Phillip Rivers. So I'm wondering how good, he has, how much gas he's got left in the tank.
And the Giants are getting Victor Cruz back after coming off of an injury, so they will have him for this season, along with Odell Beckham Jr. So that is good news for Giants fans because he was out with a torn patellar tendon.
A torn patella tendon. That just sounds...
Patellar tendon.
Now, this is interesting because as we were talking, I received a text from one of my good friends at Bleacher Report, Mr. David Kenyon, and he says his version of calling in, a.k.a. he has my number, so he texted me, and he said that Victor Cruz definitely will get to move back into the slot because of now Odell Beckham Jr. being on the team. And Cruz also broke into the league as a slot receiver and excelled exceptionally, so obviously that'll be where he'll probably move back. And he also, as a 2 cents, chimes in and says Odell Beckham Jr. is not overrated.
Oh.
So, I mean, you can take that for what it's worth. I guess, he writes for Bleacher Report. I guess he's
it's not like
he's not making outlandish, comments like some of these other gentlemen are at ESPN.
And I mean, I'm a little different from you because I don't think that Odell Beckham Jr. is as overrated. I just think that
maybe I'm a little tired of how much ESPN locks on to like one or two players. Like, can we highlight teams as a whole? Like, no one talks about the throw that Eli Manning threw. Like, Eli Manning got him the ball.
Right.
Talk about Eli. No one talked about the offensive line that blocked for him. No one's talking about the cornerback that got schooled.
He bent over backwards. The defender draped all over him and caught the ball that was like thrown from 50 yards away.
Suppose. Now, I wonder, though, Grant, if ESPN would have been as prominent as it is now back in the day when Antonio Freeman made his weird bobbling catch on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that was great.
How many times would we have seen that overplayed?
Probably a lot.
Like, I wonder.
Or they could call it a fluke play. It would probably go either way.
And they would have probably called it a fluke play and then gone back to 12 hours of Deflategate coverage, more than likely.
Well, that same play happened against...
It was against the Vikings in Monday Night Football, wasn't it? Or is it a playoff game? Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football.
It wasn't playoff, but didn't it happen to the Packers in the Seahawks playoff game?
Because there was like
same
2 or 3
situation happened.
Yep.
I was like, no, it came back to bite us.
Yeah. Karma came back. All right, well, looking at the other teams on here, the Detroit Lions, obviously the Lions' offense is going to need to overproduce this year now that they've lost Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley from the defensive line. But looking at their offense, though, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate, those are 2 pretty high-caliber wide receivers right there. They've got 3 pretty good tight ends, in all honesty. Brandon Pettigrew, Joseph Faria?
Faria,
I don't know how to whatever. And
I'm listening to the Lions games.
And Eric Ebron, who was their number 1 pick last year. Those are 5 talented and big targets that Matthew Stafford can throw the ball to. I mean, we know this firsthand experience as Packer fans, that the Lions always challenge the Packers secondary, but as you firmly believe, the Packers secondary is atrocious.
It is.
Even though I think the linebackers are worse.
You're crazy.
I'm pretty sure the linebackers are worse.
You're on crazy
Take
drugs.
Clay Matthews away and an old Julius Peppers, and you've got nobody.
Yeah, but you have those 2 guys,
yes,
so they're not atrocious.
I feel like Julius Peppers is not on the same level.
Okay, we're talking about receivers.
I'm just saying.
We're talking about receivers right now.
Anyway, so in that regards, I think the Lions are a very good team and will continue to make a solid push. I think they will make the playoffs again this year. I think that the pieces are falling into place for Detroit. I think they'll make the playoffs this year if they can outscore their opponents by multiple points, not by 1. But if they get into close games, their defense isn't going to be able to hold them.
Well, look what happened last year with all the injuries that they had to their big guys, and then they were able to piece together a pretty good defense that beat one of the most explosive offenses in the Green Bay Packers with their first week together, pretty much.
Yeah.
With all the big injuries that happened early to their defense in the beginning of the season, they were basically pulling guys off the street, and now that they're actually doing it with free agents and stuff like that, I don't think just because they lost 2 big players that their defense is going to be less. Yeah, it might be less, but not as big as you're making it out to be, I think. I think they're not going to have to
You're taking away the 2 of the best defensive tackles in the league, though.
Yeah, but you're not
I feel like I'm making that a pretty big deal.
No, but what it sounds like, it's like they're going to have to blow them out 45 to 30.
Well, they're going to have to. They don't have the pass rush to compete against high-powered offenses.
Yeah, but they're still going to put together a decent defense.
But they're going to be lacking.
I'll show you.
They're going to be. I bet you will. All right, number 3 is the Indianapolis Colts. They go out and add Andre Johnson this year. They added Frank Gore as running back as well. But then they also went out and drafted a few guys. And it caused a lot of issues because some people were like, well, why are they drafting a wide receiver? But now it makes sense because they needed to continue to keep up with teams like the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts. Yes, they need to keep up with themselves, Grant. They need to keep up... What are you pointing to? T.Y. Hilton, yes.
Never mind.
Great wide receiver.
I was thinking of, something else.
Yes, T.Y. Hilton, great player.
Yeah.
Brilliant player.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Great.
What's the issue?
Nothing. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Tell me when I'm older. No. Anyway, they need to keep up with teams like the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos in the AFC, and why not go and add more firepower? But at the same time, Andrew Luck can only throw to one guy at a time. Last I checked, unless they're playing with 4 or 5 balls now. But
wait, is that New England? Is that New England territory? Is that instead of deflating balls, they're have 3 or 4 on the field?
Yes,
that nobody
next
knows
season
about?
the Colts will get to start 2 quarterbacks a play and be able to throw up to 4 passes during a play. That's how, with all the sanctions going against for Deflategate, which we'll talk about next segment, the Colts now will get to play with more than 1 ball for everything that happened. Yes.
Jeez.
I don't know. Anyway, briefly scooting through the remainder of the list, Denver Broncos, they're not a bad team by any means, but you look at the people that they lost. They lost Julius Thomas this season to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They lost Eric Decker 2 seasons ago to the New York Jets. So both of their careers are officially over. No, we'll see. We'll see. But they've got Wes Welker, who looks like Marvin the Martian with his space concussion-proof helmet. You've got Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas, 2 really explosive breakout wide receivers.
I don't think they have Wes Welker anymore.
Doesn't Wes Welker play for the
I
Broncos?
I don't think he plays.
He's a free agent, technically. I don't know if they've ever re-signed him or not. Well, yeah. Oh, despite the loss. Okay, he's a free agent right now. No one's re-signed him. Because the Packers were looking at him for a while. But either way. Okay, so I'm sorry, he's technically not on the team. But even still, Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas are both on the team.
Yes.
And were both lights out last season and are going to continue to be productive. Now, obviously, looking at number 1, the Green Bay Packers.
Woo-woo!
The depth for the Packers is ridiculous. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb. You've got the new wide receiver, Ty Montgomery. You've got Jared Aberdarius. You've got Jeff Janis. You've got Devontae Adams. And those are just wide receivers. Then you look at the tight end spot. Andrew Corliss, Richard Rodgers.
They're not huge explosive players.
No.
I'm not a big fan of Corliss, but Richard Rodgers, he's a younger player.
He is.
And it's just Rodgers to Rodgers. It's kind of fun.
Anytime that happens, all Packer fans are like, ah.
But yeah, he didn't have a huge season, but he produced for the Packers, so I'm excited for him. Corliss, for me, though, he has improved himself enough.
I would agree with that. I think there's still some room for growth for Andrew Corliss, and a lot of Packer fans are begging Teddy Theodore Thompson. They were begging him to go out and draft a tight end a lot earlier than with the last pick.
Yeah, I was really shocked when they waited till the last pick of the 6th round.
Yes.
For their last pick of the 6th round to draft a tight end.
I was equally shocked. Anyway, we're going to go to a quick break. A lot of fun stuff to still come. Zach Papapus is going to join us to talk about Deflategate and also talk about 5 teams that will surprise in the NFL in 2015. And then Grant has got some coverage on the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs. And intern Laura is here. It's Wednesday, which is what, Grant?
Hump Day!
There you go. We'll be right back. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Welcome back to the Backs and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm back.
And this is Grant.
Grant, what day is it?
Hump Day!
There you go. Now I'm going to just overdo it
That's
to make
okay.
sure that you feel included.
I think we're covered for the next month of Wednesdays.
I really hope so.
We
My
need
gosh.
to because we're going to be gone. Reminder to everybody that we are going to be gone for the next 4 weeks. Our last show will be on Friday because I'm going to North Dakota, pretty much
Grant
Canada.
lost a bet. He's going to spend the summer in North Dakota, stranded with his wife and child with just a match and a piece of twine.
Right next to Canada, hugging a moose.
You really You better
Man.
send me a picture of your son on a moose.
Just
Please.
tearing through.
Or I want to see like
waters
a
and-
picture of like you shot a moose, Liam like holding it with like a gun in one hand and like a beer in the other. You're like,
He has 3 arms because he was like holding it.
The moose is draped across the
Okay.
front of him, and then he's got a beer in one, and he's got a gun in the other, and it's like having fun in North Dakota.
Coonskin hat.
Yeah, like wish you were here. You're like, oh my.
And then
gosh.
Baxter will be getting hitched.
Yeah, I'll make it sound like it's such a bad thing. You're getting married. Boo.
17
17 days.
17 days.
17
days. So he'll be
17
gone.
plus 13
so
is 30. So yes.
we will be gone for 4 weeks, and then we will be coming back with we're thinking weekly shows.
That's the thought right now. From everything we've talked about with Sports Radio America, we will have a Monday evening show throughout the summers, starting that, I believe, second week of June. It looks like, if I know correctly, our first show would be June 8th. That would be our first Back in the Saddle show. It'll be a little different. It'll be a little off the wall. Grant will not be as involved, unfortunately, just because of his schedule. But hopefully we'll have Grant on here, there, and everywhere. And we'll have other guests on, but it'll be a good time.
It'll be mostly you.
It'll be mostly me, so I get to make up for all the time that I sat and listened to Grant talk the entire year. But it'll be
You
fun.
can count up my rant minutes.
Yes,
Because
I'm
what
gonna
this
cash-
is
cash in my
64.
rant
Wow,
minutes.
it's like because we just added 2
Yeah,
minutes,
so-
so it's almost an
I'm
hour.
sure we'll have to
of
have Zach
rants.
do the math and figure out
Yeah.
how much you've ranted.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do have Zach Poppenfuss joining the show now, so we're very excited for that. Hi, Zach. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you
Good.
guys
Wearing,
today?
not too bad. You're wearing your official Backs and Grand Sports Show T-shirt. I appreciate that. I'm saving mine for Friday's show, which, one more thing about that, it will be at 11 a.m. on Friday. 11 a.m. Friday, live on Spreaker.com and theCUBE, and then it'll be re-aired on Sports Radio America. Anyway, moving on. So glad to have you here, Zach. Well, we had you in last week to talk a little bit about Deflategate because it's the thing that doesn't want to seem to go away. And now the sanctions, the appeal, the verdict, everything have come down. Every legal term you can possibly think of has happened. And now people are really upset. I'm one of them.
I'm one
very
of them as
upset.
well, but for different reasons.
I
than
am
most.
upset because, let me just read what it was. So the official sentence for Tom Brady, he will be suspended 4 games. The New England Patriots organization will be fined $1 million.
Which is the most of any NFL
ties,
team.
Yep, ties the most for any NFL team. At least that's what ESPN said yesterday.
Oh, ESPN said most.
So it must be right. Oh, wow, if it must be most, well, they should really get their act together then. Somebody, it's a lot of money. Then they're also being stripped of their
Not for the
2016 first-round draft pick and their 2017 fourth-round draft pick. That's the whole package as a whole. So before we get to Grant and I's thoughts about it, I want to get to Zach and see what he thinks about the whole situation and how he thinks if this is an appropriate sentence or not.
Just imagine this with me. You're sitting there and you've got this punishment for the Patriots. You're gonna take Brady away for 4 games, which I mean I've talked about it before. I think he should just should have had to sit out the 4th quarter of every game. But
I have no problem with that, honestly.
so you take him out for 4 games. You find the team a mill. You take away their first-round draft pick. Where the heck does the 4th-round draft pick in 2017
that is going to be crucial.
come in?
That is going to ruin team building.
I mean, seriously, are they like? I think you know what would make Belichick bad if we took away a pick they aren't actually going to use.
Oh, that's
How about
what
the
it
4th
is.
rounder? Oh
Brilliant.
man,
Make
that
it
gets
happen.
him. That gets anyway.
It's true though. I'm like, what? When I heard the 4th round, I was like, what?
I
Huh?
feel like
It was like, ooh, get him.
Yeah.
Slay him, NFL.
Definitely gonna not be able to be good in 2017.
I feel like the it's a little harsh, and it had to be harsh because the NFL had to say, no, we're not going to let you get away with this. In the past, we've seen the NFL be soft and
Ray Rice,
we didn't know
Adrian
that you guys
Peterson,
were
Greg
doing
Hardy.
this stuff, and we're just going to
OJ.
look the other way. NFL can't do that anymore. They
No.
can't get away with it in the modern world. They've got to be harsh. They've got to have plausible deniability, and that's what they have here. They say that we are going to suspend you if you cheat. If we can't prove you're cheating, but we think you were cheating, we're going to suspend you. If we can prove you're cheating, it's going to be worse than this. So, all in all, I think the Patriots organization has always been a little bit on the
Cheatsy said.
Cheatsy, cheeky.
Well,
I don't know.
I feel like they've always done whatever it takes to win, but not necessarily all within the rules.
Well,
Yes.
if you go around the league, there was quotes coming out that saying that the Patriots are the team that everybody would see they would try to get away with stuff, or they would try to cheat. So, I mean, all around the league, that's kind of the general feel. But
Yeah,
Baxter, I know
mean-
you're chomping at the bit to talk here.
Before I
so-
get to the other thing I want to say, I think it's funny that the first game that Brady will be able to play in is a nationally televised game against who, Grant?
the Colts.
The Colts! Sunday Night Football on NBC, Week 6, at the Colts.
Just for kicks and giggles, the Colts should deflate all their balls to like 1 PSI or something.
should.
I was thinking about this. They make this huge deal about the footballs being deflated or whatever. There's got to be some way you can permanently have the ball set at a certain. I mean,
Well, they'll probably have something like that now.
We
that
have
this
the
has happened.
technology.
I would hope so. If we can put a man in space, we can keep
put
a
a
football from
rover
deflating.
on Mars that's driving around and around, and we can't get a ball to stay at one pressure. Anyway,
Impossible.
you
We want to start a new community on the moon. But no!
Well, there's
We can't.
where are they sending people? They're going to be sending
The
people
moon
to
and
Mars.
Mars, yeah.
they're going to be
Sending
sending
people
people
to
to Mars soon.
Start repopulating since the Earth is
Okay,
apparently
Bax, did you want to
doomed.
talk about this first? Or
Well,
do you-
I mean, it all really depends on this, Grant. I mean, because my opinion about this is that this is total garbage, because I was voting for either a maximum huge harsh sentence or none at all, because in all honesty, you take away Tom Brady and the NFL still doesn't have any credibility because they've screwed up way too much in the past. Tom Brady's got 4 Super Bowl rings. He's got 3 Super Bowl MVPs. The man is pretty much set for life in terms of fame and fortune and everything of that regards. And I just think that this 4-game suspension, I think that, the team being fined $1 million, the draft picks mean nothing. In all honesty,
I think they mean something.
I don't think they do to a team like the Patriots. If this was like the Browns, the Jaguars, or a lower tier team that builds their team through the draft, I would understand that. But you take away the first round pick next year. Who would they use that on? They'll probably be in the high 20s again for draft picks next year. So their first round draft pick next year will probably be somebody on the defense. And then you look at that 4th round pick in 2017, that's probably going to be a filler pick. They're not going to be losing anybody, and I get it. You never fully know how good a player is when you draft them until you put them in the league for a few years. Look at Tom Brady, 6th round pick, best quarterback arguably to ever play the game.
Hey, they should have taken around the 6th round pick. Then they're really getting
Exactly,
at the
yeah.
right in the back.
Exactly, but I'm just very disappointed with the NFL because I think that it should have been a max season suspension or nothing at all, and they should have just fined the team and Brady and said, look, slap on the wrist, there it is. Because when you convict somebody with more probable than not as the biggest thing, come on.
Right.
In any other real legal system, you can't convict
would not-
anybody on
that-
that.
yeah, that
you
would not
cannot
happen.
convict somebody on that. Well, you probably did it, so you're going to be guilty.
Right.
Come on. You can't do that.
Right. Okay, so what I want to say is I think he should have gotten max season suspension. He should have had some monetary fine along with that, because I was surprised when he didn't have any monetary fine. And I was okay with what happened to the Patriots organization. I mean, $1 million, that's chump change to them. And then taking away their draft picks, I do think that's a big deal. And I feel like that's what they deserved with that. Now, my thing is that this should never have happened because the Patriots were already destroying the Colts. So, I mean, my thing is maybe it was, maybe that's why it wasn't as big of a suspension because the Colts were already getting destroyed by the Patriots.
You could make an argument for that. I do want to throw one other thing in, and I think that this is very true, is that if the Patriots had lost to the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, none of this would be relevant right now. None of this would happen. It would have been let go, and everyone would have been like, well, they didn't win the Super Bowl, so they got what was
because
coming
they
to them.
deflate.
Yes,
maybe.
because they deflated the balls, and now...
Because maybe that they didn't, and so maybe it could have been more.
Either way, though, I feel like the media would have dropped it. Been
You
like,
know,
Seahawks are the best team ever. Woo!
I wonder about, and you're at the 1 yard line and you throw that ball. It looked like it came out of his hand a little weird. I wonder what
yeah.
the
It
Patriots
It wasn't
did
fully
to that
deflated.
ball.
Yeah, why aren't the Seahawks? I could see Richard Sherman be like, the ball wasn't properly inflated. Like,
there was
I couldn't catch it one hand.
yeah.
there was actually like footage of Seahawk defenders like checking the balls, like they were squeezing them like during the Super Bowl to check that
Oh my
they were
gosh.
properly inflated.
Oh my gosh.
But
you can't blame. Yeah, you can't. The Russell Wilson, just come on.
Anyway, just going over because this is kind of a big deal. He's not going to be able to come back until week 6 because the Patriots have a bye week.
Yep.
They play the Steelers, the Bills, the Jaguars, and the Cowboys. So 3 out of those 4 teams, maybe the Bills were. It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with the Bills. We're not sure, but they're not an awful team.
That's always a good game.
Right.
Patriots, Bills.
The Bills are not an awful team.
No.
So it's going to be losing Tom Brady for those games is going to be a really big hit. Now, with all of this, the one really big thing that annoys me the most out of all of this...
What grinds your gears, Grant?
Well, because 1, I think he should have gotten more. I said that already.
Yes, you did.
2, Boston media and the players
I
of
love it.
the New England Patriots.
New England?
New England Patriots.
New England.
New England Patriots.
New England.
New England Patriots.
Yes.
They're the most annoying people
Oh, come on.
that have ever walked
Come
this earth.
on.
I'm gonna have to sort of agree here.
What?
So the $1 million fine to the Patriots was already paid by their fans.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean,
They started a GoFundMe page.
It's ridiculous.
It was a slap
Why?
on the wrist. So anyway, on that same note, I think the reason they couldn't assign a monetary fine to Tom Brady is because they didn't have the proof.
Yeah.
And so it would have been a huge legal fiasco to say, hey, you have to give us money for something we couldn't prove.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they control whether or not he plays in the game. So they were able to
Gotcha.
hand
So
that,
they were able to do
hand
it
that
that
down
way.
as a suspension. Now, the other thing is that, so that's basically like docking someone's hours. If you're not sure that they stole something from work, but you think they might have done it, you dock their hours, and then
Yep.
they don't get to make as much money. So that's basically what they're doing to Tom Brady, is they're saying, we're docking your hours, you don't get to work for, 3/4 of the season? A quarter of the season,
of the
I should
season.
say.
Yeah, yep.
And so basically what they're doing here to Tom Brady is saying, look, we're watching you.
Yeah.
What I don't understand, I read the document, I read the review, I didn't get through all 200
Let's say 254 pages of the Wells report.
But I flipped through a little bit of that, and what I don't understand is how the NFL is so lax about. They have the game balls prepared, investigated by the referees. Great. Your people have looked at them. Now, give them to one of your people.
Right.
Make the ball.
This entire thing is solved if an NFL representative takes those balls out to the ball boys.
Right.
Yeah.
And then continues to monitor them throughout the game. It's the same as your high school equipment manager checking them out.
Anybody can be paid off, though.
I understand.
But it's a whole lot less likely if it's not
You're
somebody
right,
from
yes.
the Patriots organization handling them.
Especially not someone who interacts with Tom Brady on a regular like that. You know, if McNutty or whatever his name was, that's what they called
Chicken
him
McGibble.
in one of the in one of the previous reports. But if McNeely had only been a representative and not been able to actually mess with the balls in the bathroom, then we might not be even dealing with this issue, and I think that's something for the NFL to look in. I personally volunteer to be the ball keeper at Lambeau Field.
Oh, Lambeau Field, not New England.
This is just me letting the NFL know.
Doesn't that start the stereotype or
That,
the like interaction all over again? Where it's like if you're just the single person at Lambeau Field, you'll just start building up a rapport with Aaron Rodgers.
I
would think they would
I work
travel
for the
around.
NFL. I work for the NFL,
Yeah,
so they can move me wherever.
He wants to be the NFL representative of ball.
I'm for the other team.
Wait, what?
When the Patriots show up, I take care of their balls.
Oh, okay. Well, enough of all of this football
But then you
talk.
can inflate them too much.
Yes.
Oh.
Before we run to a
That would be
break,
tempting.
we wanted to go through the 5 teams that Grant and I believe will be surprises in 2015. Now, Grant, we were looking through the list of all the NFL teams, and some of the teams we've already talked about, one of them being the Minnesota Vikings. We think that they will surprise in a positive way. You look at their season last year, they went 7-9, not awful, third in the NFC North. But at the same time, I think they're definitely going to be miles better.
Right.
And we saw them lose 3 or 4 games last year.
Yeah, they were really close to going 500 or above this
They could have.
last
I think
season.
they could have finished with probably about 10 wins last year.
Yeah.
But because of all the issues with Adrian Peterson, the defense not being as good, they dropped. Anyway, Vikings are my first pick to be a positive surprise next year. My first pick that will disappoint next year, I think, will be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now you were wondering, because we were looking at the list, and you're like, why are the Steelers on there? I'm like, well, let me explain. Pittsburgh Steelers are on that downward slump right now. Yes, they finished 11-5 last season in the AFC North, but at the same time, I believe with Ben Roethlisberger continuing to get older, Le'Veon Bell will be suspended for the first 3 games. Antonio Brown is only one man. He cannot do it all for the Steelers' offense.
Right.
And then you look at they lost Troy Polamalu. Their defense is substantially weakened because of losing him. I see the Steelers not winning the division next year. I would not be shocked if Baltimore or Cincinnati wins it next year.
Yeah, and definitely with Cincinnati being a younger team and being on the rise. And even Baltimore is getting a little bit older, too. They're one of the older teams in the league.
They are, yes.
So I could see the Bengals coming up and taking the division from either of those teams.
Yes.
I've been impressed with how much Cincy's cleaned up their act. I was surprised Cincy wasn't actually on your list. Although I suppose you're looking for a surprise.
Yes.
And I see you have the Rams on there.
Yes.
Which,
yep.
I mean, they better do something finally.
That's the hope. I mean,
we've waited for 15 years.
With Nick Foles as their quarterback now. I mean, I miss the old, Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt Rams.
Well, the big thing with the Rams, though, is that the quarterback, they were kind of like the Vikings that were last season. They just got a little bit more recognition for it because nobody cares about the Vikings. But the Rams, their big problem was quarterback, and they put together a 7-9 season, and there were a couple games, they almost beat the Patriots, and they almost beat a couple of big teams, and they were really close to being over at 500 or over 500. So that's another one of those teams that are almost on the cusp that need like 1 or 2 more pieces to make the team really good.
And I think Nick Foles will be part of that because if you look at the Rams' struggles the last few years, they haven't had a Sam Bradford. They haven't had a consistent quarterback for the last 2 or 3 years because Bradford is more concerned about sitting on the bench, blowing out his knee, than he is about actually being on the field.
And then when he was healthy, they didn't make it to the playoffs, but they were a game away from making it to the playoffs.
Yes.
So the Rams are not a bad team.
No, I don't think so at all. And the last positive team I have is the Buffalo Bills. We'd have Rex Ryan now on the team. I think you could say it could go either way, but now they've got Matt Castle and E.J. Manuel for quarterbacks. You add LaShawn McCoy. You look at the offense with Sammy Watkins for wide receiver. They've got the right pieces to be really good. But we just don't know.
Right.
If anything, Buffalo needs to come blazing out of the gates and take an early divisional lead, especially with New England being hurt for the first 4 weeks because without having Brady.
Yeah, and they actually play the New England Patriots.
Yes.
So that'll be a big game to win for them because they quote-unquote have a little bit more of an advantage than they will the second game. So if they can take that game away from the Patriots, that'll give them at least the 1-game advantage. So then if they play the Patriots again, it goes 1-1. At least the Patriots are beating them 2-0, and they tie top of the division or something like that.
So I want to throw in on this list teams to surprise. I don't know. I've been saying this every time I've showed up on your show, I think. But I'm not actually surprised by it. The Miami Dolphins. This one's going out to you, David Kenyon. Miami Dolphins are going to show up this year, and as long as they can keep Sue from doing really stupid things, and I think they'll be able to because I feel like they understand the culture that Sue came from. And so they'll be able to keep him in check and probably have some kind of safe word to pull him off the field if he gets too upset.
Banana!
Stomping! Get him out!
Rodgers! Something.
Anyway, I feel like the Miami Dolphins will be able to keep him in check. I feel like they don't have to rely on him 100% the way the Lions did. I feel like Miami has a good enough defensive scheme and team. And yeah, as David just texted on, my boy Tannehill, I feel like he's going to be able to.
When's he going to show up?
I feel like he's going to be able to lead a decent team. They picked up some good weapons.
Greg Jennings. Woo!
Good old Greg.
Good old Greggy Greg. No, I mean, I'm not, saying it's a bad thing here. But in all honesty, though, the last team, though, to keep an eye on is the New Orleans Saints. But I think they're going to surprise in a continued bad pattern.
I don't think it's much of a surprise, though, because after losing Jimmy Graham and then being also one of those old teams, Drew Brees being in his last couple of seasons, because he's getting up there.
Yes.
And it's the Saints have, after coming off of a 7-9 season or 6.
It was worse than that. I think
6-10,
something like
6
that.
6-10, but still being in the run for the playoffs. But we're not getting into that. The NFC South, but I think they're just
first team to 7 wins.
They're not going to be surprisingly bad. I think just people are already going to expect them to be bad.
Yes.
I think that you guys have seen the Dayquil commercial or the NyQuil commercial
with Drew Brees.
Someone dubbed that, I think, where he's lying in bed and then he gets a phone call and they tell him that they traded Jimmy Graham, and you just see him.
That would be fantastic. All right, well, Zach, thank you so much for stopping by today. We appreciate it.
Good to be here.
We'll hopefully see you back again on Friday for the big final conclusion show. So enjoy the rest of your finals week if you can actually enjoy them.
I've got one to go.
Hey, good for you, man. I got 3 and then I'm done. And Grant hasn't even started yet. So yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by, Zach, and we will see you again on Friday, sir.
Good.
All right, Grant, you know what time it is. Woohoo! It is time for Senor Coppersmith's rant. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
1 minute on the clock. On your mark, get set, and go.
The man, the myth, the legend, also known as Aaron Rodgers, can, yes, do it on the field. 2014 MVP, doing it off the field as well, winning Celebrity Jeopardy, beating Mark Kelly and Kevin O'Leary, winning $50,000 for his charity, Midwest Athletes Against Childhood Cancer.
MacFun.
And now that's a better way to say it. But looking, just if you go and watch some of that show, like some of those answers, I was like, holy cow, I didn't even know that. Like, I didn't even understand the answer of the question or whatever.
Yes.
The answer part of the question, however you want to describe that. Like, I didn't even know what they were asking. And he just got it right away, and I was like, holy cow. But I found interesting, they actually asked his girlfriend, Olivia Munn, to do this first, and she had no interest to do it, but this is actually on his bucket list. And so he was like, just ask me, I would do it. And so it was awesome.
Time's up.
It was awesome.
That is too funny. The man, the myth, the legend.
When I got the notification that he won, I was like, yes, of course he would.
Yes, he did.
Of course he would.
The man, the myth, the legend, the enigma that is Aaron Rodgers. All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to briefly chat about the NBA and NHL playoffs, and intern Laura will be here as well. This is the Baxton Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Lots of football, Grant. Lots of fun stuff. The NFL, an American pastime. Not MLB. That's a whole other topic.
What?
I'm kidding. Anyway, it is
You'll
time
get
for you to talk
burned
about...
in the streets of Baltimore for that.
Wow, that was a bit much. That was a bit much. Anyway, Grant, briefly, what's going on in the NHL playoffs?
Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning, like I called it, completed the series against the Montreal Canadiens, winning last night's game 4-1. It was not much of a game, actually. The shots, Montreal only had 19 shots, scored only once. Tampa Bay, I believe, had 27.
Not going to win a game shooting that low.
Right, and Tampa Bay shooting 27, scored 4 times. Really upsetting game by probably one of the best goaltenders, Carey Price, not performing well at all, even though he's probably going to win the trophy for best goaltender. The name is escaping me right now. There's so many names of hockey trophies that they're just specific
Kind of
names.
like the college football awards, too. There's like all these random people that have a trophy for like the best lineman, the best kicker, the best running back. It's like, just have
but
one.
they're more prevalent in hockey.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Tampa Bay Lightning won the series, advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals, and are going to take on either the winner of the Washington Capitals against the New York Rangers series. Game 7 happening tonight, 7:30 Eastern.
Ovechkin's calling the win.
And I would agree with him. I think they're going to take this one.
Yep, I would agree. All right, briefly looking at the NBA fast. I wish we had more time to talk about it, but we don't because we have finals to go to. But anyway, briefly, the recent games that have happened. The Atlanta Hawks defeating the Washington Wizards 106-101. In that series, it is now tied at 2 apiece. And then the Golden State Warriors coming back and now have knotted the series up at 2 apiece as well. Your boy Steph Curry, Grant, doing crazy things.
Work.
33 points in that game to lead the Warriors to a 101-84 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. And then yesterday, the Cleveland Cavaliers holding off the Chicago Bulls. LeBron James, 38 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, as he leads the Cavaliers to a 106-101 victory over the Chicago Bulls. Cavs lead that series 3-2. And then the Houston Rockets, James Harden, with the flu, basically on his deathbed, continues to just go crazy. Gets a triple-double, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, as the Rockets defeat the Clippers 124-103. Lots of excitement, but not as excited as what's about to happen, Grant. What? What do you want
I just
from me?
wanted to say that the second round of the NBA playoffs is a lot closer than it was in the first round.
Yes, it is. That's very
Making
true.
some exciting stuff.
It is. But with that music, Grant, you know who that means is in the studio. Our wonderful and favorite intern. Don't tell the other interns.
I know. Cause
Intern Laura is here.
She just pushes me out of the way, gives me a look, and then plops her laptop on my computer, and then I just
Sounds
go
about right.
stand and cry in the corner every time she's on.
Yeah, well,
Can you please move your laptop over?
she asked nicely.
Please.
Come on, Grant.
I'm
Anyway,
kidding.
hi, Laura.
I'm kidding.
Welcome
Hi.
to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous. Are you surviving finals week?
Yeah, barely. I've been sick all week. Worst week to get sick, so I won't try to breathe on any of you. So
Appreciate that. Well, we'll vacate the studio just for you, Laura. You can do.
Thank you.
This is the Laura show. It's all you, Laura. Take it away.
Okay. Come back.
Okay, sorry. Hi, I'm back.
All right. So today I have a little treat for you. I'm going to be talking about weird mascots, college mostly.
Okay.
All right, there are some really weird ones, and I just posted a sneak peek on Twitter and on Facebook, on the Facebook, of an artichoke, Artie the Artichoke. He is a mascot
For who?
he's from Scottsdale Community College, and I just think he's so cute and so funny because he's like this little running
Artie.
artichoke, Artie the Artichoke.
The
and
fighting
then there's,
artichoke.
Yep, the fighting artichoke, just like not to be confused with the Fighting Pickle, North Carolina School of the Arts.
Ah.
And then there's the Bull Weevil, University of Arkansas. There's just so many of them. And then we got one in our home state here,
right.
Kakana Galloping Ghosts.
The galloping ghost.
The Galloping
I would
Ghosts.
love to see a ghost gallop.
I have actually went to one of their games.
Have you?
I have.
I've driven through Kakana a few times.
My wife's football team actually played them. They were in their division, I'm pretty sure.
No.
And I went to that school.
Really?
I didn't go.
Wow.
I visited. I didn't
okay.
attend
I was
the
like-
school. I went to that school.
Interesting.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
Huh.
Yep. They have like I'm pretty sure they have like a statue somewhere of a galloping ghost.
Who thought of that name?
Who did? I wonder what the history behind
Who was
that
on the
is.
committee for that name?
I wonder.
Honestly.
And then we got like Wooshock, which is
Wooshock.
How do you say that? Wichita State.
Wichita.
I struggle with
Come
Shout
on,
out.
NCAA
I know.
basketball
I
tournament.
know what it is.
Do you
I
not
know
listen
that-
to our show?
No, I knew that they were. I just can't say it.
Do you know sports?
I know
Wichita.
how to say.
Anyway, let her finish.
It's just a big corn husk, and that's silly.
It's actually a bee.
And can't you have like a wildcat or something?
It's a bee.
It's a what?
It's a bee.
It's a corn husk. It's clearly
it's
a
a
corn
bee.
husk. No, it's
They're
not.
the Shockers.
It's a bee.
Nope. Nope. It's not. It's a corn husk. Look.
It's also
It's a big,
bee.
bad, muscle-bound bundle of wheat, not corn husk. It's a
Then-
bundle of wheat.
Then the announcers during the game lied.
Well, it was
lied.
probably ESPN. So.
Oh my goodness! And you also got like Otto the Orange. He's from Syracuse.
Hey man, eat those oranges.
Yeah, Purple Cow, Williams College, and then
Orange.
this one's weird.
What the?
The new College of Florida is literally it's two brackets like
Nerds.
that you would write with.
Empty
It's
set?
called the empty set. It's just two brackets, and there's nothing there. There's no picture of an
Oh,
animal.
they don't
or
have a
anything.
mascot. That's
Yeah,
why.
that's their mascot. The fact that they don't have a mascot is their mascot.
We'd like to welcome the new College of Florida. And that's it. That's all they are. They don't have a mascot. I would hate having to do announcing for their games.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, like what do you call them? Like the fearsome empty set.
brackets. Something.
Starting for the brackets.
Yeah, for the nobodies, for the new College of Florida. Interesting. Wow. Well, strange mascots. We definitely hear that all the time. And when I was growing up, originally, I was thinking like, what's a Packer? Like when thinking back to the Green Bay Packers, and then I got the whole Acme Packing Company lesson and all that jazz. I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay, Packer. But I'm like, a Packer's not an animal.
I remember that day in my life.
Yes,
It was a good day when I learned Packers history.
when you went
Like,
from
up
a
in
boy
Wis-
to a man.
Up in Wisconsin,
Oh my
that's like a
goodness.
rite of passage. You know, like Native Americans, they go out and they do like their little ceremony, like to become a man. They go out on like the week hike.
Yep.
We get our Packers history lesson, and we go to Lambeau Field for the first time.
Okay, and then the last one is Stanford University, the Stanford tree.
Woo!
It is a tree. And
It's
it's not to be confused with the DC Everest Evergreens, which is from
yeah.
our home area, which is just, that was just
Yeah,
bad.
they're trees.
And then the rival school was the Lumberjacks.
That's the school I went to.
Oh my gosh.
So anytime we played
Cut
them, it was
down.
like you're just exactly. It's like come on. What else do you do? We just get we painted really big pictures of trees on paper, and like when we played them for homecoming, and then our mascot has an axe, and then they just cut
Hack
big,
it.
huge posters.
Cut
of
it down.
Trees.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Intern Laura, for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my! There's one more. I'm not going to talk about it. Nope.
There's a lot. There's a lot. You can look up at them. You can look
What
them
is
up
this
on your own
what is
time.
this website? CampusExplorer.com. Top 10 weirdest college mascots.
I'm not saying I approve of what's on the screen, but
No.
you can look it up if you
Yeah,
want to.
you will get to know people real well. Anyway, thank you so much, Intern Laura. Where can the good people find you on
You
Twitter?
can find me on Twitter at intern Laura BGSS.
Intern Laura BGSS. Thank you so much, man. We will see you again on Friday. Feel better. Good luck with the rest of your finals,
Thank
ma'am.
you. I'm gonna take a nap.
Probably a good idea. I'm very jealous. All right. Well, we had a fun show, Grant, did we not? Well, Grant has run out of the studio, apparently, so I'm going to talk to myself. Yes, we did, Baxter.
so
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
thank
we
you.
did. Sorry,
Oh, good.
sorry.
You're welcome.
I was checking something.
No, not a problem. Anyway, Grant, thank you so much for all that you do, sir. One more show before we pack it up. No, don't cry yet. It's not Friday. Don't cry, because then I'm going to cry. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this has been another edition of the Baxter and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Grant, where can they find us on social media one more time?
Find us on Facebook at the Baxter Grant Sports Show. You can also find us on Twitter at BG Sports Show. You can email us at bgsportshow@gmail.com. Or you can Instagram us by using the hashtag the Baxter Grant Sports Show. And by using that hashtag, your picture will pop up on Sports Radio America.
Yes, again, and thank you so much to all of you that listened live at 9 a.m. Central on Spreaker.com. Remember, Friday's show will be live at 11 a.m. Central on Spreaker.com. We'll have a packed studio. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll have a Name 5 challenge. My mother will be here. It'll be all kinds of fun stuff. My mother will be here. It'll be so much fun. We'll see if we can get her on air or not. I don't know. She's very shy like I am, Grant, so I don't
She's a
know if
great
we'll be able to
person,
get her
though.
on.
She's
I
a
love
great
her. I love
person.
my mother. All right. For Zach Poppenfuss and intern Laura and Grant Coppersmith, I'm Baxter Colburn. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Hump day!